Welcome back to Life Upgrade Garage. On this video, we're going to be finishing this welding job that I've had to do for, I don't know, a couple months now before my wife divorces me because I didn't get it done and get the camper on it. Nope, that's not what we're going to do today. Today we're going to disconnect the wiring harnesses that went around the front end of the car and to the engine, drop all the fluids, and prep the engine and transmission for pull here on Life Upgrade Garage. I quit my job 2 months ago, and like every responsible adult, I spent my retirement fund to transform my wife's daily driver into a drag car. Come join us as we upgrade our boring lives with some drag racing excitement on our YouTube channel, Life Upgrade Garage. Good morning. It's officially November 1st. I'm actually doing a couple things today. One is we're switching back to the Crown Victoria, partially because the problems with the pickup truck started again. So I'm going to now have to get the starter off of the Crown Victoria so that my wife can drive the pickup truck, because that's the car that she would prefer to drive, before I finish the frame of that camper. So this video started out as me doing the welding with the frame, and it's going to end with me finishing the strip down, or partially finishing the strip down of the Crown Victoria, getting the engine out, getting the wiring out, because found out a few things, and we'll talk about that a little bit too. The other thing I'm going to be doing today is we're trying to work on our videoing so that we can stop doing things like saying all the time. I'm also working on the quality of video and sound. I do not have a cordless microphone yet. That is the next purchase. I purchased a little bit better camera. This is not, a couple $1,000. It's a couple $100. It does take a little bit better video. We're hoping it'll be a lot better than my phone is. The phone has actually been better than I thought it was going to be. It's still not great, but I'm going to be screwing around with that today, trying to see where the settings need to be at different times. I know it's going to be different between in that tent and out here, kind of like it is with the phone, but it's experimental. This is another one of those things that we're learning. I'm learning. It's fun. I enjoy this kind of stuff. This is part of the adventure, right? This is why we did this. But I think the first place we're going to start is, so I moved this back in here, right? And I use this tire as my seat. So you can imagine that was a lot of fun. That dash is fully disconnected now, technically, from all of the wiring. The only thing it's holding up is the steering column, and that I added a strap in the middle, because literally there's only one bolt on that side. That's it, one bolt. And it's banging at us. That was the other funny thing, is with everything disconnected like this, it was throwing out a beep I've never heard before. Because it was saying that there was an issue, and I'm like, what's the issue? The thing runs fine. I've been looking up the laws for airbags. What am I trying to say? Because this one has a driver and a passenger side airbag. This is a 93. Because this one has a... So in 93, airbags in the passenger side or driver's side were not required. They weren't required till 1997 in automobiles. So I can literally delete the airbag system in here, which saves us a bit of weight. I don't think it's going to be 100 pounds, probably around 50, but 50 pounds, I mean, that's a lot. So with the deletion of the driver's seat, we're talking, it'll be close to 100 pounds, about 75 pounds. We have to weigh out the passenger seat yet. If that one's under 24 pounds, because that's the weight of the seats that I'm going to be putting in, or that we've looked at putting in, hopefully we'll be able to get them when the time comes around. If the passenger seat weighs less than 24 pounds, we're going to keep it. If it weighs more, we're going to get rid of it. So we're saving with deleting changing the front seats, deleting the airbags. We're saving between 100 and 125 pounds right off the front of the car as well. The other thing that does is it allows me to get rid of this and maybe just put in a easier sheet metal covering of some kind that will just kind of keep the top closed and give us a place to mount the top of the airbox too, so we can keep our defroster, because that is staying in there, the defroster and the heater and everything like that. It is a Minnesota car, so at times, even in the summer, we're going to need that stuff. And I'm sure around the country, I'm sure that's the same. But up here, it's especially important, just because even on October 1st, the day we went racing, we used our heater that day. You know, in the morning when we left from here to get up there, we used the defroster and the heater on the way up. So already at October 1st, you're already using your heater and stuff. I've already got my heater. It's only November 1st, and I've already got my heater running here in the garage. Just the way it is. The heater's going to stay, at least for now. We do in the future have plans on moving to get away from the cold. We've wanted to do that for some time, and eventually we're going to do it. We're just going to up and move. So at that point, then we can delete the heater system out of this thing too. It does have a big chunk right here, you know. That is the other thing, you know. So that would save some weight as well. Some of that's we're already going to be dropping weight because I am not putting the air conditioner back in, and maybe that's a mistake. I don't know. I don't see why it needs it. I don't plan on cruising around with it when it's 120 degrees up here. It gets really humid and hot in the summer times, or it can, and I don't plan on doing big cruises with it up here. I know it does in the south as well, when we're doing sick week and drag week, and maybe it'll be a mistake for me to pull that out, but we're just going to have to live with it. It's got a purpose, or we've got a purpose for the car, and that's what we're doing. So if it was a traditional hot rod, I doubt it would have air conditioning in it anyway. So what's the difference? It's got windows. It's got 4 windows. So put those down all we want. But so that's what we're going to be doing today. So if you see differences in video, it's because I'm using this other camera, if I can find it. Right there. And we're working on the car. Hey there. You want to do me a favor? If you're enjoying the video, you mind clicking the like button? If you want to see more, you can subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, leave a comment. I got no problem with that. I'll do my best to answer anything that you have questions on. Anyway, I hope y'all have a good day. Now, where did I put that 10 miller? There it is. Well, I guess there was more rust than I realized back here. Still not too bad. All up there looks pretty good. That's above the tank, or gas tank. And that looks to be really the only problem on this side. Who knows what it looks like? I can't see down there. Can you see down there? Oh yeah. The inside, the rear. Nah, let me get this out of there. How's it looking there? Yeah, a little bit down there, huh? All in all, for a 30-year-old car that spent all of its life in Minnesota, I don't think it's horrible. I mean, it could be worse, for sure. You know, I like that this here is still intact. So even if I have to cut a little bit, I can replace or find out or look at it. You know, it doesn't seem to be that it's going to be too hard to fix this. You know, I can just patch them in. Well, that's pretty bad, but that looks to be right above the frame. Well, maybe not. Nope, that's not the frame right there. But both sides are absolutely, they just crunchy. Anyway, thought I would show you. It's not horrible, but it needs a little bit of work. So the interior is completely stripped out, except for the whole mess up here with the airbox and all that. But the floor is completely intact everywhere, no matter what. I know I got stuff in here. I forgot to film this before I filled it back up. Or record this, whatever. Some of this I'm not sure what's all going to go back in. We're looking up laws on what needs to go back in and what doesn't. I mean, but it's everything but the headliner is out. So, it's in really good shape. Only rough spots are the ones in the trunk. So, really happy with it. Alright, so one of the first things we're going to do on this thing is rip the wiring out. I shouldn't say it that way. We're going to remove a bunch of the wiring. The harnesses, it's all going to stay together as a harness, but I'm going to pull it back so that we can see what's going on. I'm also going to remove the passenger side of the engine's exhaust manifold in order to get down there to the starter, make it a little bit easier. Radiators coming off, just anything. We're just going to start pulling into it, trying to save as many pieces as possible, just so that we can go through and see what we need and what we don't need. I've got a box set out over here for parts that I know are not going back on, and for parts that I know are going back on. So this should be fun. Alright, so I got this wiring harness that wraps all the way around the front, at least disconnected from everything. That'll be the next step. That goes underneath there, but I'm going to have to take the whole windshield wiper tray off to get the motor and everything, get at it. makes the wires go behind the engine, but that's fine. No big deal. Got the AC disconnected. I'm getting clear. So that if I to get this starter off, I gotta get in there. I can. Just gonna. You can see down there. I'm gonna just stick a Sawzall in there and cut them bolts, and then I can unbolt, and if I gotta lift the engine, I can lift the engine. It doesn't matter. But I'm gonna track down where these wires come from. They enter back here, and I've got to figure that out yet, because like all of that stuff is in the way, so I gotta figure out, or that's just gonna stay there till the engine comes out. So I'll be able to get everything out and away from the car, and I won't have to deal with it while we're pulling the engine. That's the whole point. Alright, so there's one disconnected. I'm gonna leave the heater ones in there, and then see what I can do to get that starter out now, since most of that stuff's out of the way. Actually, I think I can pull this out as well. This was just for that power antenna, and I disconnected that while I was in there too. So this can go in this. Not putting it back in box. Alright. Alright, so I think before I go any further, I'm going to disconnect the wiper motor thing. I'll show you up close. It's just a piece of plastic. It has the motor and the wipers mounted to it, along with the bars. I'm just going to take it all off in one if I can. If I can't, oh well. This is what I'm talking about. See, it's got these bolts in here. They'll just attach. Here's where the wiper motor sits. They attach to the bottom, or the firewall. And they don't, that way they don't have to have a full piece of metal all the way across. And you can, if you remove the wipers, you can get back to the back of it. So, cruise control. Stay or go. I'm not sure how we're going to do this. This specifically only fits to the Ford engine, but it would be nice to be able to use it. So if I can adapt the pedal and not pedal, but the linkage, throttle linkage to the Chevy, we'll see what we can do. But this may stay, may go, I don't know. I'm going to put it in the stay pile because I'd like it to stay, because who wants to drive hundreds of miles without cruise control? Right? So I got the small harness from this side disconnected. That means I've got both harnesses disconnected. The only thing that's not disconnected is the stuff that goes into the computer on this side and the heater controls. So pretty good. Not too bad for a day's work. I'm getting pretty bare. Now bumper was pretty light, so I guess the next part is to dump fluids. I mean, we're at that point where I'm going to start dumping fluids and disconnecting motor mounts and stuff like that, because I think I'm going to pull the engine before I pull the starter off, just because I want to get it up out of the way so that I can see what's going on with the AC pump, because I really don't want to be laying down there trying to figure that out. I figured it would be easier while it's up in the air here to see what's going on, easier to get to. That way I know I can get to the starter as well, and can get the hopefully get the manifolds off, or at least have access to be able to try and do so. But I'm going to start getting the fluids out. In order to do that, I got to empty all my buckets, but I'm going to actually dump the power steering fluid out of the pump and reservoir before I go down and empty out my buckets of used oil. So I think tomorrow will be the day that I get all the fluids dumped, and then transmission shift cable disconnected and motor mounts disconnected so that I can pull it up and out. I got a whole day to do it instead of just a couple hours, because it's about 5 o'clock now. I get up 4:30 in the morning to be to work, so I'll be to bed here in a couple hours, and I still haven't eaten supper yet. So I just wanted to mention that nothing I do here on this channel is expert opinion. I am not a professional or expert of any kind in the automotive field, so be very cautious if you're gonna try and do some of the same stuff that I'm doing. Always do your research first. Maybe talk to a regular mechanic, something to make sure that you're going to do it right, and that you or anybody else doesn't get hurt during the operation of the vehicle. I'm just a guy working in a garage. I have quite a bit of experience. I've been working on cars since I was a kid. That's the only thing I have. My point is, I even look stuff up on the internet or talk to a mechanic before I do things, because I want to make sure that I'm getting it right and I'm not putting myself, my family, or the general public at risk. So be very cautious. If you're watching this channel, don't take my advice as expert opinion, because I am not an expert. But I do wish you well in working on your projects, and I hope to see you next time here at Life Upgrade Garage. All right, so I'm going to end this video here. I haven't dumped any of the fluids yet. I'm going to move that into the next episode, so that the next episode will really just be all about pulling the engine, pulling the transmission engine, and pulling drive shaft, and all the things we're going to end up doing. I'm going to probably pull part of the exhaust too, to just make it easier and get it out of the way. I hope you enjoyed. See you next time.